Mark. Well, I need to know what panel in the book you're looking at that caused your face to do that.
I'm so shocked by the cyborg reveal
I
edition
know.
of Amanda Waller's team. Who is it?
We'll find out right after this. Before we get started, don't forget to hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, make sure you leave us a comment, and hit the notification bell so you're alerted whenever we upload new content. Hint, hint, it's every Monday morning at 10 o'clock. Um, but we are now smack dab in the middle of Absolute Power. We actually had an issue of Absolute Power proper come out this week, Absolute Power number 2, and we had another tie-in with Batman number 151 as well. So we're going to take a look at both of those. Let's start with Absolute Power so we can answer your question. Exactly who is this? Well, we'll get to that in a second, right? But um, if you've been watching, he basically has already told you who this is. So
Called it months ago.
exactly,
Yeah, I get
exactly,
it right every now and then. Every now
yeah,
and then.
exactly. Um, but we basically start in this issue in Amanda Waller's little Gamora Island Metahuman Detention Center.
Yeah, we sure do. And we get to see them walking prisoners along the way. Again, it spotlights Ace. I don't know if that'll become relevant later, but I keep noticing Ace as the prisoner.
Hmm.
But yeah, we get in here and we get straight to catching up with the War Council, is what they're dubbing themselves. Amanda Waller and her cronies looking at the board of all the players, all the heroes, all the metas across the world, and how most of them are crossed off the board with a few left over. So they're trying to figure out, how do we get to these few that are left?
Right. So they say that basically about 80% of the heroes have been basically taken off the board. But
A lot.
the bad part is the 20% that are left are all the heavy hitters.
Yeah.
And so, you still got your Superman, your Batman, your Wonder Woman's, Aquaman. So funny you mentioned Ace, because what would a major event be without something happening to a speedster somehow? So I
Yeah,
wonder.
that's true.
Yeah. Um, so we see, like you said, we see the War Council, which is basically Amanda Waller. It's Failsafe. It's the Brainiac Queen. It is Green Arrow is there, and I think maybe Rick Flag. No, Dreamer. Sorry, Dreamer is there. Those are the
Yep.
five that are there. So, and they're talking through basically, and uh, one of them says, the Queen Brainiac says, why don't we just, if they're hiding, let's lure them out in the open by just basically, taking it to the common people.
Yeah,
That'll lure them out.
let's start killing civilians. They'll come
Yeah,
try to save them.
yeah, and Amanda Waller suddenly develops some sort of conscience and says, "Well,
I'm
we
not
don't
a
do that."
sociopath, even though
Yeah,
she was about to nuke a bunch of people in Beast World a few
right,
months back.
right. That's not what we do. But she says, we basically we do have a way to get them. Just who to use to find out where they are and get them and bring the fight to them, basically.
And she tells, yeah, we're gonna link up somebody with Queen Brainiac and Dreamer. You're gonna get him in there, because Dreamer with this ability is not only is she a precog, she's basically like an alpha level teleporter, because she can go anywhere via the dream realm.
Right. And so we switch to the Fortress of Solitude. Um, Superman and Batman are there. They're talking about strategy. We see Barbara Gordon is having some discussions as part of that. They basically say, look, we're kind of disjointed. We need some sort of a plan. We need some sort of a leader. Aquaman says, you know what? I've had lots of experience, being a leader. Batman says, yeah, that's great, but you're really not the kind of leader that we need for this. We need someone who is tactical as well as has the knowledge and everything. And so as soon as he finishes, Doctor
Mr. Terrific.
Mr. Terrific says, "Well, that sounds just like me." Uh,
I lead the JSA. I can do this. And
yeah,
it's like, that was a little off character. Nothing really, like, I don't know. Mr. Terrific always seems kind of like humble to me. For being as smart as he is,
yeah,
he comes off humble, but that could be just me. Wonder Woman tries to stop him from arguing. Then finally, may I have everyone's attention? Cut back, and you see Nightwing and the other Titans quite literally grandstanding on a tier in the fortress. It's basically saying like, I got this. I'm Nightwing. I'm from the Titans. And blah blah blah. You don't need super strength or this or that. You just need to have the heart and the will, and we don't give up. And that's where Amanda Waller's fault is. She thinks taking your powers is going to stop us, but that ain't what started us to begin with. And Batman's like, that's my boy. And Mr. Terrific's like, wow, we're so motivated. I'm like, this is so corny right now.
Yeah, it really is. But it kind of, it kind of summarizes the last couple of years of what's been going on in the DC universe of how Nightwing has kind of stepped forward to be kind of the leader, kind of be the soul of the DC universe, all the way back
he
since
really
Dark
has.
Crisis. So,
Yeah.
um,
But this is also cool because while he's doing the grandstanding, like, all right, we'll let him lead the team. He's capable of it. And Wonder Woman even makes a side comment like, we really disbanded the Justice League a little too soon. Like we really probably we disbanded and we forgot how to even communicate. Nightwing, you handle it. And in the process of this, they start reaching into the armory of the Fortress of Solitude, all the stuff that's been developed in there by Superman and his robots, and they start arming themselves. Plastic Man, who's no longer able to use his powers, now has some gear and guns. Batman's got some new armor on, throw some purple gloves on, it's always a treat when Batman puts on purple gloves. Like it's about to get serious.
yeah, and Nightwing gives Batman the task of going to find out about the Mother Box. He gives Superman the task of going through the multiverse to gather more people to come and help them. He gives Black Canary the task of going and finding out what's going on with Green Arrow. So he kind of divvies up tasks, and then that's when they all going to get into the armory. And like you said, we see those purple gloves on Batman that is just so wonderful.
Yeah, it's great. And have we passed? No, we haven't passed the Zatanna stuff yet.
No.
I think that was in the Superman issue, wasn't it?
Yes. Yep.
Yes. Yep. So we know he's going with Zatanna through that unexplored dimension.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and at this point, we see a shadow approaching from the outside. We see the door to the fortress with the famous shape of the key in it. The keyhole looks a little smaller than I remember. No big deal. No big deal. But then you see a second shadow approach next to it. Then an explosion. Enter the villains. Mm-hmm. And you see none other than Queen Brainiac, led by her new little help, I guess, that Amanda Waller assigned to her. And we get the reveal of who this new cyborg addition to the team of Amazos is. And of course, it is none other than the captured and brutally upgraded Jonathan Kent. There doesn't look like there's coming back from that. It looks like this is integrated into his body. Like this is a part of him now. It doesn't look like it's on top of his skin. It looks like it's through him.
This is like Beyond Borg type stuff, looks like.
Yeah. Obviously, Clark reacts, "What have you done?" And he reacts with just attacking. It looks like rings of heat rays coming at him. And then the fight ensues. Queen Brainiac is no one to throw a stick at. She's tough, starts grabbing, shutting down people, breaking weapons, wrapping them up. John starts fighting with his dad a little bit. Queen Brainiac gets like the most gruesome little hit that I've seen in all this, and she grabs Plastic Man, the guy who's ultimately flexible, and starts flexibling him, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah, exactly, because he doesn't have that power anymore. And Queen Brainiac makes that comment that Failsafe may have designed all the people that drained your powers, but I gave them life. And the tendrils come out, like you said, all those things. We see Plastic Man in indescribable pain. And before you know it, we also have some Amazos that show up as well.
Yeah, Dreamer pipes him in, it looks like.
Right. She comes in basically through Wonder Girl, is how, because again, she can kind of use people's dreams and use, teleporting things. And so she comes in.
Wonder Girl was put to sleep.
Right.
Against her will.
Right. So we see some things going on with Amazo and with the Brainiac Queen and everything. And just before we get to the main part of the battle, we switch to the Flash, who basically has this cool new motorcycle, basically a scooter or whatever you want to call it.
He's got the new gear on that they donned earlier, so there's a look at that. He also came back with some kryptonite to help shut down Superboy. And he's on a little Superman speeder, which This isn't as obscene as it looks on the surface. If you read the House of Brainiac, which was a lead into Absolute Power, you saw these motorcycles there because Superman pulled his out to ride side by side with Lobo. So it was kind of like, oh, like, yo, more of these. This is kind of fun, which is great considering they don't have power, that they have all these infinite resources.
Right. One of the Amazos grabs Batman by the throat, calls him grandfather, and he says, "What would you do with the bat suit and everything?" And he says, "Basically, I added ultrasonics. Oh, and by the way, never call me that."
So who now? Do you think that was a direct line based off like Batman made Failsafe made them, or do you think that was a line based off which Batman Zur-En-Arrh is inside of him?
That's a good question.
What do you think?
I think it is a direct line from Failsafe.
Okay. Yeah, because again, whenever I see Amazos, I'm always like watching with a fine-tooth comb, trying to see if we can pinpoint which Zur-En-Arrh might be inhabiting them, which version of Batman through the multiverse, what mind it has.
Right.
But yeah, Batman was going for the Phantom Zone projector, to be clear, before he got interrupted. And about that time, Ted Kord and Mr. Terrific see it, and they take off for it.
Right. We see. Then we see John and Clark continue to battle each other. The human side of John comes out and starts, pleading with Clark. And he basically, Clark says, "You need to tell me what you need me to do." And before that can happen, he says, "Join us." Exactly. So he was just kind of playing possum there for his dad. Meanwhile, we see
he grabs him. You see the tech transferring from John over to Clark as well.
Mm-hmm. The Brainiac Queen finds the bottled city of Kandor and kind of says, "Hey, this kind of looks a little bit familiar to me. I feel like I kind of remember this." But before anything can happen, it's shattered.
Ollie breaks it.
Yeah, exactly. And that means that now all of the inhabitants are now free. They're Kryptonians, so under the yellow sun, they would have the same powers as Superman, and basically they infest the Queen Brainiac.
They're flying around inside of her, heat visioning her, all this, all that, doing work. Wonder Woman comes up, takes a slash at her. It looks like they're really dismantling Queen Brainiac at this point. And about at this point, Flash drives by real fast on that motorcycle with a kryptonite and yanks Superboy away from Clark and just takes off with him.
Yep. Realizing that they're probably going to lose the battle, they open up a portal to leave. But before they do that, Superman, taking his cue from Captain Kirk, who will always destroy the Enterprise if it's about to be taken over,
initiates Black Zero.
Exactly, and initiates the self-destruct on that. And so we got a nice countdown, panel after panel of every single second. We basically tell the Queen Brainiac, Clark tells Queen Brainiac to let go of him. Dreamer tells Queen Brainiac to let go of Clark. We see Dreamer now has suddenly decided that she's not gonna do whatever Amanda Waller wants.
Yeah, she says, "I'm doing all these things to keep my parents safe, but it's at the point now, if my parents saw what I was doing, they wouldn't be happy with me." And she realizes it's gone too far. People are getting hurt. These people are all going to die. So she steps up, smacks Queen Brainiac back. Clark manages to get through the portal.
Mm-hmm. And bye-bye, Fortress of Solitude.
John Kent was in there.
Right. So we'll see what happens with that. If I recall, there's another Fortress of Solitude somewhere in like the Amazon or something, wasn't there? Didn't they do that at one point in one of these stories?
I don't remember, but that explosion, it shows like a lot of green flashes, and it looks like it turned off the programming in John Kent. He starts asking, "What have I done?" kind of thing.
Right.
Amanda Waller and Commander Steele were witnessing all this happening, and they're not happy. And they said, "Don't worry about Queen Brainiac; she'll be fine." And you see the rubble after the fact, and her grotesque form crawling up to John and picking him up, and it looks like she just kind of like puts the programming right back on him, kind of thing, is what it looks like to me, because it focuses up on his cybernetic robot eye.
Right, and then we, as they're talking, we flash to they ask where Oliver is. They say, he's still basically, going through all of the stuff in their armory because he's the only one who understands what half of this stuff does. And we see him looking inside we see these bins that say, Flash Rogues, Mirror Master, all these different things.
The key, Matter Master.
Right, and we see him looking into a bin that has the stuff from Kronos, the Adams, one of the Adams villains, Kronos, and he basically sees the timer, the sand. I can't think of the name.
Hourglass.
An hourglass. Yes, sorry, hourglass. And he picks it up and he basically says, "Time's up." So, are we going to see Oliver try to go through time to try to correct this? Is that what we're going to see?
I think most certainly, and I think that's why we started Ground Zero with that character as well.
Right. Yeah. So, and that's where it ends. Part two. First hint that Oliver really is not on the wrong side. Anyway,
I would say third. First hint was him sparing Roy. Mm-hmm. That was the second hint.
Right.
First hint is the fact that Oliver Green Arrow is working with Walt. That's just unbelievable to begin with.
Right.
But I like that they're addressing it. Waller and them are not just like, "Oh, he's with us now." They're like, "Yeah, we're clearly using each other, but I'm trying to outuse you."
Right.
They're trying to. It's clearly a chess match with each other to a degree.
Right. Then we have this.
We do have this.
Number 151.
Yeah, the squad is back.
Exactly. If you recall, at the end of the last Batman issue, basically that's where we learned that Amanda Waller has a mother box that she's using to power things, and Batman and Catwoman have decided that they need to go and steal the mother box.
Yeah, and they have to go to one of Amanda Waller's strongholds to do it. Don't they go to Gamora?
They go to an island which is just south of Gamora.
Yeah,
it's Okinawa, I believe, right?
Yeah, and they go in disguise, not as Bruce and Selina, not as Batman and Catwoman, but they go as like private contractors, going to bribe the military installation there into allowing us to use some of your government space that isn't being used, so we can do our training and our stuff where we're not bothered, and we can cut you a check to I'll give you a bunch of money so you can pay whoever needs to be paid to allow us to do it here quietly. Basically, I'll line your pocket because the guy was like, "Yeah, I'll be that guy. I'll grease the pockets that need greasing. Just give me the money," kind of thing. And they're doing this because they recognize that Amanda Waller will have this somewhere that's under her control, but out of everybody's prying eyes. So they need somewhere that's their property, but clearly it would be an unused piece of property.
Right. Basically what he says is, with all the heroes gone, that may embolden some bad actors to try to, do certain things. And so he's going to kind of be like this off the board type of a group that's going to help deal with those threats as they come along.
Yeah. So they drive him out. Selina and him kind of go their separate ways. She's like snooping around. He's going with the base general, and he's showing him the land and everything where the space he can use. And he immediately takes the disguise off behind the guy's back, throws up the Batman cowl, and goes to work. And about this time, we have the Suicide Squad Dream Team, Deadshot, Clock King, and who is it, Black Alice?
Black Alice, yep.
They show up to go because I guess they're just heading to the place to secure the area anyways, and they run across Catwoman who's snooping in the woods, and we get a little battle ensue. About that time, Batman with a purple glove shows up, and we get a cool little fight. He tells Catwoman to run ahead, get to the spot, and she gets there. She finds a door, no major base, just in the woods, and she breaks the code to it, starts heading in. About that time, Bizarro, who presumed dead Bizarro, last time we saw him, he took a sniper shot to the dome that peeled his muffin cap back, but he's here with a cybernetic arm, so he had to be rebuilt a little bit as well. And Batman recognizes immediately he's outmatched. He can't beat this guy, but he can just talk to him like the big idiot that he is. So he does. He immediately starts backwards talking with Bizarro to the point you have Bizarro like fighting the cars around him and just tearing up the area, and gives Batman room to run after Selina.
Yeah, he basically says, you know what, Pizarro is like a big kid, so just talk to him like he's going to be able to play, and and that's
Hmm.
and that's exactly what'll work for him. Um, Meanwhile, we get Selena goes inside. Batman follows her, and what we find is not a mother box, but we find a boom tube
It's
instead.
just sitting there wide open,
Right.
staying open, and they don't know where it goes to or what could possibly be on the other side. And Batman says, "Yeah, all right, I'm going to go." She's like, "I'm coming with you."
Yeah, exactly. And so they determined that that's what Cyborg that was the energy that Cyborg found at the end of the last Batman issue. But they kind of feel as though the mother box is still there. It's just on the other side of the boom tube, but they don't know what the other side is. It could be underwater. It could be on a different planet. It could be almost anywhere. And so they decide, you know what, we're going to go through it. Determining that it may be underwater, I guess, whatever they put on a mask, an oxygen mask, won't help them if they end up in space somewhere. But
No,
um,
now you need you need the
you
bat
need your
underwear.
underwear for that exactly. Um, they
That's what
dive
never
through.
forget.
They dive through. They find their mother box. It is in a container. But then they also notice that it almost seems to be a mausoleum for
Yeah,
all of Amanda Waller's relatives, dead relatives. So they
yep,
find out, and they wonder where they are basically. They walk out of the mausoleum and they see this wolf, and Batman somehow knows that this wolf is from Zarnia. So they realize that the boom tube is leads to Zarnia, and that's where the mother box is, and that's where Amanda Waller has brought all of her dead relatives.
yeah. So she built her mausoleum on a dead planet, so she can truly have peace when she goes to see him, which I thought was interesting. About the time Batman realizes he's on Zarnia, he takes a bullet shot to the chest, right on his armor.
Right.
It's a character called Gunsmith from back in Batman '89.
Hmm. And so we see an explosion occurs in the mausoleum as well, and out from the explosion comes the Dream Team as well. Plus this other character that you just mentioned, and that's basically where we're at, a standoff between Catwoman and Batman, and now these four members of Amanda Waller's staff. So. And then there's a backup Harley Quinn, not really that important to the whole story. So
Yeah,
um, basically, she just basically saves a power plant. So not really that important. So, but
super
yeah.
good, super important. Not you. You need to read it if you're
Mhm.
keeping up with Absolute Power. Once again, the tie-in proves very important to the main story. Highly recommend both of these issues.
Yeah, absolutely. This is doing really well. I think it's engaging. It's it does the most important thing that any of these things should do, and that is it makes you want to pick up the next part to see where it's going. Nothing is to me. Nothing has higher praise than just saying I need to know what happens next.
Yeah,
So, and I really do in all the tie-ins in all the main stories. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, it was definitely good. Um, but next, I think next week we have, I believe we have Green Lantern coming out, and I think we have Task Force 7 number 4, I believe, as well.
yeah.
So
The fail-safe issue.
right, exactly. So we have those two issues coming out next week, and we'll cover them all right here. So make
Right
sure you
here.
come on back. Exactly. Don't be afraid to subscribe. It's okay. It's not going to hurt. Subscribe. Hit the comment button. Leave us some comments. Hit the like button as well. And I think that's pretty much it. But that's going to be it. I am Paul. He is Mark,
But we are Legion.
and you're now leaving Sector 2815.